Hello and welcome to another InventRight TV show. My name is Andrew Krause. I'm one of the co-founders here at InventRight, and we have two very special guests on. We have one of our students, Ellen Diaz. Welcome, Ellen.
Thank you.
And we have her coach, her InventRight coach, Courtney Laschkewitsch. Welcome, Courtney.
Thank you so much.
So we do these so you guys can learn, because when Ellen shares kind of her experience and going through the process, going through the InventRight process, and Courtney's talking about how she helped her and her perception, you're going to learn a lot of interesting things that's going to help you work on your projects and also understand, like, what the heck's an InventRight coach? What do they do? You know? But Ellen, before we get started, you had mentioned, I'm just going to jump right in because I did a little pre-interview here. You said you've been coming up with ideas for 25 years, and I'm just going to jump right into it. Normally, I don't kind of answer my own question, but you can talk more extensively about it. And now you're working on 4 projects at a time.
Yes. I have always had that ideas will pop into my head, and I have a notebook full of ideas dating back to 1995. And when I look at the list now, many of them are on product, like they're on the shelves. And I'm like, oh, it was a valid idea. I just didn't know how to get there. And just spinning in circles and doing crazy things. For instance, one of my ideas, I decided I'm going to pitch to Kimberly Clark. So, and my daughter is 5. She's 32 now. I put her in my VW van, which you couldn't turn off because if you did, it wouldn't start again. So I drove to their headquarters for a meeting, did a terrible pitch. She asked me if I had any other products. I showed her something she loved, wasn't in her product line. And then I drove back in my VW van, and it's like it just so much energy that was just spinning in circles that went nowhere. And so now I have Courtney, I am the closest I've ever been to, I'm pitching products, I'm getting sales sheets,
You're probably not driving anywhere. You're using LinkedIn, you're using the phone, you're using email. You probably don't have the Volkswagen van anymore, do you?
Thank goodness, no.
Okay.
Thank goodness, no. Exactly.
So why did you join InventRight? Was it because you basically already answered that, you were going in circles and you're not anymore?
Yeah, I got to a point where I was just, I put my dreams aside. I had this notebook full of things. I have another career, my full-time job, and I just like almost to the point of giving up on my dreams. And I feel like I have an inventor mind gift that was shelved. And I thought, okay, I'm going to give it one last hurrah. And when I met with Courtney, I knew instantly, this is my shot. I'm not giving up now. She yells at me if I try and give up. Very nicely, in a very respectful way.
So, Courtney, Ellen has a full-time job. A lot of our students have a full-time job. How's she doing managing that? How was she doing at the beginning? How is she doing now? She's working on 4 projects at once now. That's great. Sounds like you got her up and running. But do you want to talk about the time management and the being busy, having a full-time job, and then still working on licensing?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say time management is very difficult for everyone, especially if you have a full-time job or if you have young kids, incredibly difficult. But there are lots of tactics that you can use to help with that, and some work for certain people and some work for others. And so it's a lot of troubleshooting at first, especially when you're starting up. Luckily, you go through one product first, and so you get your feet wet, you understand the process, you get to pitching. Now you're focusing a lot of pitching. And now, once we get more of those time management tactics working, I would say it's easier to go through the process again and again with each additional product and be able to juggle them all. But, also I would have to say that time management in general is difficult. And when you focus on it in relation to efficiency of how efficient you can make your time, not just, I finally found 2 hours, I'm going to spend, all my homework on those 2 hours, that can be difficult. So figuring out what is the most important thing. If you have 5 minutes in the week, if you have 1 hour in the entirety of the week, the goal is not to just ping pong like crazy. The goal is to really make sure what is the absolute highest chance of licensing success where I can spend my time on that part. And that takes a while to learn and understand per person.
And I think, Ellen, correct me if I'm wrong. Courtney, correct me if I'm wrong. Ellen, you're kind of saying you're kind of like all over the place before. And to go from being all over the place to focusing on just one product is amazing. But now you've got them at different points in the pipeline. You got 4 at the same time. That is a major leap for you. Correct me if I'm wrong. And how did you get there? What was the process?
That was huge. It took Courtney a while to reel me back in because I wanted to jump. I'm like, I have an idea. Let's go. And she's like, no. I mean, we stayed with the first product step by step all the way through. And she's like, you have to learn the whole process first before we move on to the next one. And that was rough because my mind just wanted to.
Yeah, most inventors, you are like most inventors. That's very normal.
Yeah.
But Courtney is, and we are at InventRight. We got a 10-step system, very process oriented. But do you find it irritating now, or do you find it empowering that you've got this process and you can go as fast as you want, but you got to go through the steps in the right order?
It was thrilling because 2 weeks ago was the first time, like with product number 4, because we've been doing step by step and understanding it. I came to Courtney, I thought, I have this idea. And she's like, okay, run through these things. I did my Google search, my Google patent search. I did all my, and it was like, oh my gosh, this works. And I was able to get all the research done, do everything, get the pictures, make us out, like the whole process. And so now it's like building that skill base. Mm-hmm. And now things can really speed up, and it feels actually better because I know I'm going to do it right. Because my very first one I tried, not the first, many of them that I tried solo, I jumped to a company. I'm like, I have a great idea. And then they came back and they emailed me with the Google search of 4 products that looked exactly like the one I sent them. I know, right? I'm like, oh yeah. So Courtney has saved me a lot of embarrassment. Thank you.
Of course.
Do you feel a little bit more calm? You don't feel pressured with the structure or confined. Does it give you like more? Are you calm?
It makes me actually not confined at all. It makes me feel so much safer because saving me the embarrassment of pitching to a company that a product was Google searched in 10 seconds. Now I feel secure if I go through the steps. I'm doing my due diligence, and I'm going to put something out there that I feel confident in. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, there's always like this little fear in the back of my head, like, did I do everything right?
Well, and before when you just wanted to get going, I just want to show it to a company. You probably didn't do what we teach you to do, and you're doing now. You're reaching out to 20 or 30. You're reaching out to 1. And then you're probably making all sorts of assumptions. Well, I don't know. And like based on showing it to 1 company, is there any truth to that? And is that something you changed?
Oh my gosh, yes. I could write a book on what not to do. And it was horrific. But even the short time working with Courtney, looking back of all the things that I've done, this is Courtney.
Let's go through some of them because we want all our viewers to benefit from this. And you're willing to come on. So what the hell? Tell us 1 or 2 other mindset things that you're doing it this way before and now you're doing it this way now.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, number 1, I would get super excited that somebody on LinkedIn would be my friend, and Courtney would be there. Remember, it's professional connections. It's not kind of like, they're my new friend. And so I would just kind of blurb. And so that one president of a major company, he friended me. And so I did like, oh my gosh, thank you for friending me. I'm a fangirl and all this stuff. And then Courtney's like, wait, you did what? Like, hold on, let's
we had a long conversation.
Yeah, very long conversation about trying to keep my personality but reel it in and not fangirl too much. I'm sorry, I did another one last week. It slipped out. I'll tell you about it later. But I'm trying. But so that's huge. The other ones, I'm not just like putting all my eggs in one basket thinking, oh, this is the holy grail of the company, and they say no and I'm crushed and I never try again. That's what was happening. And also with Courtney, like, nope, let's build up your hit list. Let's collect your no's is my new favorite term. And so that's a big one. And not feeling crushed when they say no. And also learning to be grateful if they even give me a response. Like, even if it's a no, it's not for us, I'm like, oh, because sometimes you put it out there and you hear nothing. And then you just, so it's nice. So I'm collecting those and I'm okay with that. She's taught me.
Courtney, I'm going to guess that Ellen's always had a great energy, but you just need to direct it. Is that accurate?
That is perfect. Yes, I would definitely say that. In fact, I love to compare it to like watering a plant, that you have a hose and you want to water that plant. But if you turn to the left and that water splashes all over to the left, and you're like, I'm watering my plant, and your plant's over there, and you're holding the hose on the left, it's all about directing it. That plant's not going to grow if you're not aiming your water in the right place. So we talk a lot about that. It's incredibly important. You want energy, you want excitement, you want passion and hard work and grit and tenacity and perseverance and all of that. But if it's not directed in the exact place you need it, there just is not going to be success. There's a process.
Was she constantly directing you, Ellen, to where to point the fire hose?
Every call.
Every call.
I mean, it's more of like I wouldn't say subtle refinement, but because I still need some major like redirect. But I honestly feel without her guidance and the steps that you teach in InventRight, I can feel it. I feel like I'm so close to getting a deal, and like that is my. Like, I have to get not just one, because then I'll open up the floodgates, but I want I want a career of just being able to do this process. I just need that one. And so I think it's more too of the mindset, because I get really hard on myself and I'm like, it's not happening how I want it to, and it's not happening fast enough. I'm like, okay, after 25 years, like I should have some patience, but and then I'll lose my momentum, and she'll be there so we have a system in place now where consistency with our call. We have our weekly call, and then I do my homework, and then we have a midweek, I have to email her my updates. And so even if it's like last week, it's like, I'm sick, I gotta know, that's my only update for this week, and I'll have the rest done by our call. Just by that consistency in the last probably month and a half, things are starting to accelerate.
And accountability. I mean, she gave you specific things to do, and you're supposed to get those done before the next call. But when you were on your own, you were probably you're probably doing stuff, but maybe it's a little bit flailing about, or a lot flailing about. But you're doing stuff, but it's like all over the place, and the hose is going everywhere with Courtney.
Oh yeah. And it was like just running frantically in circles and making no real progress. Or what I would do is I'm like, oh, I need to make a prototype. And I would spend all my time researching all these expensive prototypes, and I would meet with people, and then I'd waste my money on a product that came back 3D printed that was horrendous. And then one time, I tried to make my own mold, so with the plastics, and you mix it, and I'll send you pictures. It was like, it looked like a bomb exploded on my table. It wasn't
even worthy of the 99-cent store, I guess. Huh?
Oh, I couldn't even get it out. I had to use a hammer to rip it apart. So
hey, you tried.
And all that energy and money.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say a lot of misdirected energy with inventors, Courtney, right? And I think, playing traffic director, that's a big part of what a coach does, and knowing where to point the hose, what have you, like you said. I love that. I think that's fun. But, Ellen, we lost her video for some reason.
I don't know what's happening. Okay, hold on.
There you go. You're back. You're back.
Me and technology.
And then, Ellen's got great energy, but we have students too that are kind of low energy, but they're also going in the wrong directions, right? And so it's not just a matter of energy. It's a matter of where you spend your time. And Courtney, you don't need to spend a lot of time to really see some progress if you're pointing your fire hose in the right direction.
That's very correct. Yeah, accountability is everything, and efficiency incredibly important. If you have maybe half an hour a week and you're pitching here, and you utilize those 30 minutes to just pitch to 20 companies, that's fantastic. In 30 minutes, you have all those emails, you already planned it, it's good to go. You just copy and paste in your script. That's phenomenal. Now, if you don't have a process and you have 30 minutes a week, that's incredibly difficult. First, you got to figure out what the heck to use that time for. And by that time, that 30 minutes is over. You got to sit down. You got to have your paper ready and your pen. You got to start doing research. Oh, you need your charger for your laptop. You're ready. And then what do you do at that point?
Right.
You need those steps. It's critical to success.
And I'm assuming Ellen's back in the day when I was a coach. And, I would say when people have 4, 5, 6 projects, you're all at different stages of the pipeline, and you always make your older one a priority. You don't go, well, I don't know, 15 out of 30 didn't respond, and you start to focus on so that's the discipline she's probably learning now, Courtney, and maybe she already has that. Sounds like she does. Sounds like she's gotten pretty far along. It takes people a while to get there sometimes, so I'm kind of impressed that Ellen has gotten there fairly quickly.
It's been a transformation for sure, from step 1 to step 10 and then doing it again. Of course, when you take a product through the process the first time, it's going to take 4 or 5 months just to get the product to the pitching stage. But then when you do it again, and then again, you can get a product done in a month, let alone maybe 2 weeks. Just as Ellen was saying earlier, that mindset and how quickly, this last product that we just knocked out for the sell sheet, we're doing revisions on the sell sheet now. And from step 1 to step 6, it probably took maybe 3 weeks to get.
Wow.
I mean, it was insane.
Yeah,
so
I like Ellen. She's like this. I love that. That's great. I could tell you guys have a lot of fun together too. So I absolutely love that, and that's great. And I mean, Ellen, you could be transparent with Courtney. You could say anything to Courtney. I don't. Why am I doing that? You could, and then she would answer you, right? I mean,
oh, absolutely.
She does.
Yeah. And she or Courtney would be open to that too. She's like, well, I got to convince her. If you don't do it like this, this and this can happen. You're like, oh, okay. And it's really important to be transparent, with their students.
Oh, and the funniest one was when I first started trying to pitch or make the contact, and I wrote out my first contact, and it was wild. It was like, howdy, I hope you're having a fabulous day. And it was just all over the place. And Courtney, she's like, let's bring that down a little bit. Let's try and get a little excitement, but professionalism in there. So that was pretty funny, those conversations and our LinkedIn profile. Again, it's so funny because at this point, I'll change up my product and yes, that makes sense. Let's do this. I'm not attached to it. But some of those LinkedIn things, I'm still.
Well, and I think that's okay. Sometimes the coach will say, I think you should do it this way. Says, no, I really want to do it this way. And we're like, okay. I mean, ultimately it's your decision. Everything is your decision, because it's your product.
Well, but I mean, yeah, definitely with the product, I think she's gotten me more professional than I've ever been. No, and it really helps because she's very honest and always ends up it's up to you. But, if you try this, just see
right.
Or it's so how's that been working so far? I'm like,
yeah. Sometimes you got to let the student struggle a little bit. And then they're like, oh, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe we should change it up. That's fine too. It's all part of the process. Have you found that to be true?
Oh, absolutely. absolutely. Because what I realized is like Courtney is an official inventor. She's got 7 licensing deals, and I want to be just like her. And I am on the verge. I'm hoping that's my call out to universe that I'll have licensing deals, but I have to follow somebody who's successful and who's doing it, and I'm not yet. So it's to my benefit to follow her advice.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We've been doing it for 22 years. So, you know, every coach is as strong as every other coach, including our negotiation coach, Paul, because they meet regularly and discuss different things, and they all help to strengthen each other and learn from each other. And so it's like the hive mind, right? That's probably like a bad way to put it. It's like, what was that? What was that, Star Trek, the Borg or whatever? Or yeah, something like that. Anyway, I'm not that big of a sci-fi geek, but a little bit. So I think I got that right. But anyway, Ellen and Courtney, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experience. Ellen, you have such great energy. I think you're going to motivate a lot of people. You had some good tips there. It's a lot of mindset stuff. People can read our book, One Simple Idea. They can watch our YouTube videos, but I think what they're getting from these videos with their coaches and students, it's really is mindset, and attitude. Really is.
Right. I've got all the books.
Yeah.
But I read, that was before I had a coach too. And actually the coaching is what has made the difference. And I won't let you go, Courtney.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I want to remind everybody to take care, keep inventing, and we'll catch up with you guys next time. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.